Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Well, this is the episode number second of the series. What if Naruto was mixed up with X-Men and they found him in a secret laboratory of Apocalypse, and there goes different kind of drama and many diversities where you can find as much as entertainment as you want, because this is a typical Naruto fanfic. So there are many content which related to Konoha village and Shinobi villages. So you are going to have as much fun as I have. And there's one more thing. Please help me complete 10,000 subscribers. That's just a small goal for you guys. So help me complete it, please. So without any more delay, let's begin today's episode. Let's begin. Anyway.
Mizuki was sweating and thought. Shit, I got to get out of here and get to the Sound Village, and but Orochimaru wanted the Forbidden Scroll. Damn you, kid. Naruto said. Yeah, Orochimaru was talking about how you were supposed to deliver some scroll to him in the Sound Village after you stole it. What scroll was it again? Mizuki said. I don't know what you're talking about. I never agreed to steal the Forbidden Scroll. Naruto smirked and said. I never said it was the Forbidden Scroll. Mizuki's eyes went wide, knew he was caught, and said, You're a lying traitor. I will kill you. As he pulled out a kunai and went to stab Naruto. Naruto held up his hand and the blade in Mizuki's hand stopped, and Naruto grabbed Mikuki with his ungloved hand, and Mizuki was covered in a block of ice except for his head, and he said, You know, I'm sure the Hokage here has some questions he would like answered by you. The third said, Indeed I do. I must thank you for revealing this traitor for me. I had him under watch ever since his teammate was killed on a mission. Now I know it was murder, and I will have Ibiki find out as much as he can about Orochimaru. Iruka and the class was stunned, and Sasuke said, Wait, if Mizuki-sensei is a traitor, then wouldn't this Echo guy should also for talking with a criminal like Orochimaru? The third chuckled and said, That's just it. Echo has never met Orochimaru since he's been away for so long. He just used the information he was able to get and bluff Mizuki into admitting the truth. I will mark that down as a successful rank mission, Echo. Now I must be going. Anbu, take Mizuki away to Ibiki. As four men in mask appeared, walked over to Mizuki. Naruto looked at each and heard one in a dog mask think, he looks almost like Sensei, and like Sensei's son would have looked like also. I wish I could have saved him all those years ago when he disappeared. Naruto frowned and said, Hey you, the one in the dog mask. Stopping the third and the Anbu. The one in the dog mask said, It's Inu, and yes, what can I do for you? Naruto said, Just out of curiosity, could you tell me who was your sensei? The third said, Echo, I am afraid Inu can't do that. Naruto nods and said, Okay, I just thought that if this guy sensei is who I think it was, then I might be inclined to become friends with him. After all, dogs are faithful. As he turned and walked up the stairs. The third frowned a moment and looked at Inu and then at Echo and said, It's your choice, Inu. Only reason I even giving the option is Echo is a pretty good judge of character, and if he thought he could trust you enough to be friends, then he sees something special in you. Inu frowned a moment and said, Well, it's not that much a secret, and I will be leaving Anbu tomorrow anyways, so why not humor the kid? My sensei was the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze. Echo nods and said, So I was right. By the way, that boy that disappeared that day all those years ago was me. Making Inu go wide-eyed a moment behind his mask and looked at the third and asked, Is it true? Is he who I think he is? The third said, Yes, but don't use his real name or tell anyone because of where he has been and what he has been trained in. I will explain it to you in private later, Inu. Inu nods and looked at Naruto and said, I look forward to talking to you sometime, Echo-san. Naruto smiled and frowned when he saw the Anbu could not get Mizuki to move in the ice and said, Hey Anbu, step back away from him a moment. I will free him from the ice. The three Anbu looked at Echo and nodded as they stepped back. Naruto walked down the stairs where Mizuki was frozen. Except his head, and he held his hand out to the side and his wrist blade shot out of his hand and he stabbed it into the ice before holding his hand that had the glove on it in the air and snapping his finger, and a flame appeared in his hand and Naruto retracted his blade back into his wrist and the ball of fire took the shape of a bird that flew into the air and then toward the hole Naruto had made in the ice, and it went inside the ice and exploded, blowing most of the ice off of Mizuki. The Anbu grabbed Mizuki, who was shaking and holding his hands over his chest trying to warm up, as they glanced at Inu and then at Echo and left quickly with Mizuki, each trying to figure out what Echo just did. The third smirked as he looked around the class at the shocked students' faces and said, "Try to restrain yourself a little bit, Echo. I mean, we don't want to scare anyone to death." Echo laughed and said, "Hey, you should see my floor show." Quote. Kiba said, "What the hell was that? You did not use any hand signs, and what was that blade that came out of your arm?" Echo said, "All my jutsu are seal-less. As for wrist blade, secret. Anyways, aren't we supposed to be having class?" Iruka coughed and said, "Yes, of course." The third smiled and said, "When you get settled in, Echo, I would like for you to have some tea with me so I can hear more about your training trip." Naruto nods and then felt a chill go down his spine, and he did a quick mental scan of everyone in class and said, "Sure, but one question, old man. Does this village have fangirls?" The third blinked and said, "I am afraid so. Why?" Naruto looked around at the girls in the class and said, "Oh, nothing. Just wondering how hard it's going to be to lose them." Sasuke said while looking forward, "It's impossible." Naruto smirked before he shape-shifted into Sasuke and said, "Humph," as he appeared beside Sasuke, startling everyone as a smoke bomb went off covering both of them. When the smoke cleared, Iruka looked at the two Uchiha and said, "Echo, please drop the henge." Both Naruto and Sasuke raised an eyebrow and looked at each other out of the corner of their eyes and kept quiet. Iruka walked over and hit one of the Sasuke on the head while screaming, "Drop the henge." Sasuke, who rubbed his head, shot a glare and said, "I'm the real Sasuke, Iruka-sensei. No wonder I am still here when I should be training to get stronger." Iruka blinked and looked at the Sasuke he hit and then hit the other on the head, and Sasuke glared and said, "This is a waste of my time. I should be training, not being the brunt of an idiot's jokes." Iruka's sweat dropped, as did everyone else in class. The third smiled and thought, "So that's why he's called Echo. Even I can't tell which is the real one," as he walked out of the room. Iruka sighed and said, "Very well. All right, class, today we are reviewing what will be on the final test." As the rest of the day went by, Sasuke became the talk of class because all the fangirls who had quickly started to fall for Naruto were now focused on Sasuke, thinking he was Naruto. Nobody, not even the most loyal fangirl, could figure out which was which. When the day was done, both left the room, and before the fangirls had a chance to see, Naruto used slip, the same thing Nightcrawler does, and appeared outside of his new home. Naruto walked inside after unlocking the door, and sweat dropped as a human-sized sentinel appeared in front of him and pointed a blaster at Naruto, and Naruto said, "You got a problem, bub?" as he was ready to fight. The sentinel eyes flashed and said, "Mutant DNA for subject Echo confirmed. Security mode is in standby," as it walked out of the room. Naruto thought, "Okay, Bishop, that has to be your doing." As he walked around and found a secret elevator in the same place the one in the mansion was, and he got in it and felt himself going down, and the door opened up and he walked and said, "So, they actually set it up exactly like the command floor in the mansion. Makes things easier for me." As he went to where his room was at the school and smiled as he saw a lot of his stuff had been brought here, and thought, "How did they do this without me knowing?" As he saw some picture and saw one and thought, "Mom." The next day Naruto got up early and went to the Hokage office and saw the third was in a meeting and stood outside the window, and the third said, "You can come in, Echo." Naruto walked in and the third said, "Echo, this is Hatake Kakashi. You met him yesterday. He was wearing the Inu mask." Naruto nods and said, "Hello Kakashi-san." Kakashi nods and said, "Hello Naruto." Naruto frowned a moment and said, "I hope you don't mind me asking you, don't call me that for now around others. I want to forget all about what happened before I was taken away." Kakashi said, "That's fine. So, what happened to you?" Naruto sat down in a lotus position and held his hand up, and a blade around a foot long came out of his skin and said, "What didn't happen would be better. Long story short, I was kidnapped and experimented on and had several different people's DNA forced onto me. During it, the Kyuubi that was inside of me was killed and my body adapted." As he withdrew the blade, Kakashi looked at Naruto's hand and said, "I see. I'm sorry I could not have helped you." Naruto waved his hand and said, "Don't worry about it. It was actually for the best, I think. Had it not happened, then I would not have met the people I consider family and would not be who I am today. I most likely would have been some stupid idiot who could not shut up." Just then Naruto belt buckle, which was silver with an X on top of it, started to flash and beep, and Naruto frowned and hit it and said, "Echo here." A voice said, "Hello Naruto. I was wondering how you like your new home." Naruto said, "Bishop, when I see you again I am so going to kick your ass. Do you have any idea what I started to do when I saw a fucking sentinel in my home?" Bishop said, "Probably blow a new hole in the world like you did on Ghost Island." Naruto frowned and said, "So what the hell do you want? You never make social calls." Bishop said, "The professor wanted me to have you ask your Gigi when the Chunin exams would be. Several of the X-Men want to come and see what you have learned while there, as well as see the other reasons." Naruto looked at the third, and the third said, "Around 200 days from now." Bishop said, "Roger. I got that. I also wanted to tell you we got the danger room up and running for you, but don't go over alpha level until we can get in and test the omega level safety features. Also, you own everything within 1 mile of the house, and we also programmed the security system to repair any damage also, so have fun." That's all I called about. Saya. As the X on his buckle stopped glowing, the third said, "What is a sentinel?" Naruto sighed and said, "It's a machine that was designed with the purpose to hunt down and kill mutants. Until about 2 years ago we have had to be prepared for them." The third nodded, and Kakashi asked, "What's a mutant?" The third said, "Bloodline users." Kakashi nods and asked, "So how strong are you?" Naruto said, "Enough." Kakashi nods and said, "So you know who your mother is?" Naruto said, "I know who my adopted mother is, and I also know who my father was." "Why?" The third said, "Your mother was named Uzumaki Kushina, and since you already know your father, I guess it's your choice to tell anyone your name." Naruto nods and said, "Well, I better get going. I got school." As he got up and disappeared using slip, shocking both men. As Naruto was about a block away from the school, he picked up something in his senses and decided to investigate. When he arrived at where he detected something, he saw a brown-haired man in his 20s with blue eyes sitting on a tree branch, but the thing is he was wearing one of the newer X-Men outfits that was designed like Naruto's. Naruto said, "Hello, who are you?" The man turned and looked at Naruto and said, "The name's Reload, you're Echo, right?" Naruto nods and said, "I thought I knew all the X-Men." Reload said, "You do. I came from the future." Naruto frowned and said, "Why?" Reload said, "Apocalypse is here." Naruto went wide-eyed and asked, "Where?" Reload said, "I'm not for sure. I know he is in Konoha though." Naruto sighed and said, "Now that's fucked up. Why the hell did he decide to come here of all the places on the planet?" Reload said, "To study you. From what I was told from the survivors of the battle you will have with him, he wanted to observe you when you returned from the other world. He still considers you a test subject." Naruto walks over and sits down and said, "Well, thanks for the info, but what are you doing here on this training ground?" Reload said, Well, I decided to wait for you while sending off electrical currents from my communicator, and while I was waiting, I decided to see what that team over there was doing. So far, I have to say I am impressed by one of them. Naruto asked. Really? Who? Reload pointed on the other side of the clearing where three teens were and he said, the girl in the buns. She's threw 500 weapons since I arrived and she's hit a perfect bullseye all 500 times. Well, I hate to say it, but I need to run. I know you wanted more info, but sadly we don't have it. I just thought I should tell you so that way you know me, since I plan to show up for the battle with Apocalypse, so take care of yourself. Saya. As he disappears in a swirling portal. Naruto sighs and thought. Damn time travelers. Always fucking with people's lives, and every time one shows up from the future they always bring trouble with them. Just then a kunai came flying toward him, but he looked at it and it stopped moving and he grabbed it and jumped down and said, you know, little girls shouldn't throw pointy objects at people. As he threw the kunai at the girl. A man in green spandex asked, who are you and why were you spying on my team? Naruto said, the name's Echo. I was just having a chat with a friend who left right before the weapon was thrown, and it just happened to have been on the edge of your training ground. Now, since I told you my name, shouldn't you honor me with yours? The man in green spandex said, oh, of course. I am Guy. My adorable student with the fashion sense of youth is Lee. The other male on my team is Neji and the girl is Tenten. Are you a Konoha shinobi? Naruto said. Currently no. I am still an academy student. Neji said. You look our age, so you must be a failure to still be in the academy. With a smug superior voice. Naruto saw a kunai still in the ground and without moving had it fly and stab Neji in the ass and said as Neji cried out in surprise and pain. No, just have not been here to take the actual test. Been away training. Oh, and I don't like smart asses either. Everyone looked where the kunai was as Neji pulled it out and said, how dare you attack me? Naruto said. Really? How did I do that? I never moved or used chakra, so how did I make a kunai that was 30 feet away from me pull itself out of the ground and stab you in the ass? Neji activated his bloodline and said, I don't know, but you are the only responsible party since neither of my teammates would dare to attack me. Naruto shrugged and said, well, you are right, I did do it. I just wanted to see if you could figure out how I did it. Tenten said, magnetism. Making everyone look at her. Guy asked, what do you mean, Tenten? Tenten threw a senbon at the kunai Neji pulled out and it moved around the kunai in a curve instead of continuing a straight path. Naruto nodded and said, good call. Well, if you will excuse me, I must get to the academy to piss off some more fangirls. By the way, you're welcome. As he walked away. Lee blinked and asked, you're welcome for what? As he looked at his teammates and went wide-eyed and said, what the? Making everyone turn and look where Lee was. Tenten's sweat dropped and said, so that's where all my kunai I lost went. As she looked at nearly 10,000 kunais all stacked together in a pile. Guy said, a most youthful person. We should shout about his youth. Neji just glared at Naruto walk away. When Iruka got to class, he looked at the class and groaned as there were now 2 Shikamarus in class. He sighed and said, Echo, can you show your real self and drop the henge? Both Shikamarus stayed sleeping on the desk. Iruka shook his head and took roll call, and when he got to Echo he just marked him as here giving up on trying to figure out which was which and said, alright class, today we will do weapon throwing. One Shikamaru looked up and said, define exactly what you mean by weapon throwing. As he changed into Echo. Iruka said, I mean throwing shurikens and kunais. Naruto groaned and said, that's too damn easy. Can we use other weapons if we want? Iruka said, I suppose for extra credit. Now everyone outside. As everyone went outside, Naruto saw the Hokage was there with Kakashi, a woman with red eyes and another man who was smoking a cigarette along a man with pale eyes, a blonde hair man, a man who was big boned, a woman with a dog, another man with black hair and looked tired, a man in a long tan coat, and lastly a man with a walking cane and a bandage over his head. Naruto said, "Hey Gigi, what's hangings?" Iruka said, "Echo, show some respect to the Hokage and the other honored guest." Naruto said, "I show respect only when it had been earned in my eyes. Gigi is probably the only one in this village besides Kakashi that I would give any to at this moment." The third chuckled and said, "It's all right Iruka, Echo and I are old friends and he has the right to call me that." "It's good to see you again Echo. I brought Asuma, Kurenai, and Kakashi here to watch your class do your weapon test today, and they will watch the other test every day this week until the finals to help judge their future teams. The others who are taking teams this year are all out on missions today but may be here over the next few days. As for the other people here, allow me to introduce from left to right Hiyashi, Shuza, Sum and her companion Kuromaru, Inoichi, Shibi, Shikaku and lastly Danzo." Naruto said, Well, I would say you mostly the parents of the kids in my class, except for the asshole on the end," making everyone look at him in shock. Danzo sneered, and before he said anything the third said, "Echo, I may let you slide but I must ask that you." Naruto pulled his glasses off and looked into the eyes of Danzo said, "Nothing you will say or do to me Hokage-sama will ever make me change my view of that man right there. I have seen his work firsthand before I was taken away from this village. Besides you, his is the only face I can recall from that time because of how much hate I have for him. I won't attack him as long as he leaves me be, but I will never show an ounce of pity or respect for him, and if he even tries to send his little soldiers that are on the roof of the building behind me and to the right of us with weapons drawn ready to attack, should Danzo order it, I will make what Itachi did to the Uchiha look like a slap on the wrist, but they should look above their heads at this moment because I have enough weapons pointed at their vital organs to kill them in an instant." As the sky began to darken and lightning started to form in Naruto's eyes, Hiyashi activated his eyes and gasped and said, "Hokage-sama, there are approximately 20 root Anbu on the roofs that Echo mentioned, and there are also well over 40 weapons above each one of their heads also. I don't know how he's doing it either, sir, but the storm clouds forming above us are also being controlled by him." As he looked at Naruto, Danzo said, "You wish to test me, boy?" Naruto said, "You tested me already, Danzo, the day you handed me over to Apocalypse. Nothing in this world would make me happier than to end your life at this moment, but since I am still a civilian, should you or your men attack me, the law will be on my side to slaughter you and your toy soldiers," with icy tone in his voice. The third said, "Enough. Danzo, you are to order your men to stand down. Echo, stop this. I will not have a bloodbath in my village." Naruto said, "I will stop the moment the men on the roofs are gone. Until then I am defending myself. I just want to know one thing before you run away to piss yourself, Danzo. How did you know who I was? Besides the Hokage and Kakashi, nobody in this village even knows what my real name is, and you took one glance at me and knew right away not only who I was but also what the name of the people I call family go by." Danzo narrowed his eyes and said, "You can read minds." Naruto said, "Perhaps, or am I bluffing? You will have to make your own guess, but you have already proved to the Hokage with your question what I said about you handing me over to Apocalypse was true." The third said, "Danzo, you are hereby under arrest for restarting Root after I ordered you to disband them and for kidnapping." Danzo said, "You don't have the authority to arrest me. I am backed by the council." The third said, "We will see. Kakashi, Asuma, please take him to Ibiki for questioning." Danzo sneered and said, "You can't arrest me when you're dead," as he threw his cane on the ground, which exploded as yellow and blue smoke came out of it. At that moment around 200 Root members appeared in a circle and Danzo said, "Kill them all. Today is the day I take this." Gasp. Cough. As the color drains from his face as Naruto wrist blade was sticking out of Danzo chest where Danzo heart was, and Naruto said, "That's one. Stand down or die." As he looked at the Root members, Everyone was frozen in their spot, unable to believe what was going on, as well as the fact Naruto just killed Danzo. One root member started to do hand signs and he took a deep breath and blew out a stream of fire at Naruto, and Naruto held up his hand and the fire turned into a dragon which turned in the air and went back and consumed the man who was still breathing fire, and Naruto said, "That's two, anyone else?" as the mont's body fell to the ground. One stepped forward and pulled out several kunais and threw them at the group, and Naruto looked at the weapons which stopped in their tracks before flying back and embedding in the heart and head of the man who threw them, and Naruto said, "Lucky number 3. I can take all of you any time I want. Stand down and surrender to the Hokage or I will keep killing you." By this time the clan heads had moved to protect their children as Kurenai Asuma, and Kakashi began to prepare to defend themselves and the academy students. The third snapped out of his shock of how this event has been going and said, "That's enough, Echo. As Hokage I order you all to surrender." 10 men stepped forward, all starting to make hand signs, and Naruto sighed and said, "Guess it's time to chain them together." As lightning shot out of the sky, killing all 10 before they could finish making hand signs. He then flew into the air and he held the hand that was not gloved together up and started flying over the top of the root members, freezing around 40 of them who could not jump out of the way in their spot as the others got out of the way. Naruto then started to use slip and disappear, only to reappear behind a member and freeze him or her in place in a matter of seconds. In less than 6 minutes Naruto had captured nearly 100 of them. The others, seeing as there was only around 35 plus left, quickly started to flee. Naruto sighed as he landed by the Hokage and said, "Sorry," as he passed out. The third caught him and looked around the area and thought, he moved nearly at the speed his father's Hiraishin did on the battlefield, and he can freeze someone by holding them for 1 second. He can control fire as well as fly. He also can kill with little to no remorse. What has happened to you, Naruto? As he laid him on the ground slowly. The academy students, who had all pretty much thrown up seeing those men die, were all shocked seeing this. Kakashi thought, "Thus is the life of a ninja. I don't know what happened to you to turn you like this, Naruto, but for what it's worth, I'm sorry. No one so young should kill like that. Even in hatred." Hiash thought, that was unbelievable. He just killed 13 people and caught around 140 in ice. Shibi thought, ice, fire, lightning, metal, what else can he control? Sume thought as she looked at her son Kiba, take a good look, Kiba, and remember, that is what a true shinobi is. That same thought went through the Junins and the other clan heads. On a water tower not too far away a figure stood watching things and thought, so my little prototype. You have grown strong and disposed of the weak, however, are you strong enough to be the model for all my soldiers? We shall see, we shall see. Danzo, you served your usefulness until the end. Had the boy not killed you I would have. As he smirked before leaving the area. When Naruto awoke he found himself in the hospital and he looked around and saw Kakashi sitting in a chair, and he looked around and asked, "So why am I chained to a bed?" As he looked at his wrists that were held by chakra binding chains to the bed rail. Kakashi looked up from the book he was reading and said, "It was a precaution. The Hokage wanted to make sure you did not try to escape until he had time to talk to you." Naruto nods and extended both his wrist blades which sliced the chains to pieces, making Kakashi raise an eyebrow as Naruto retracted the blades and got out of bed and asked, "So where's my cloths?" As he looked at the hand that he always kept covered. Kakashi followed his eyes and said, "In the closet. The Hokage had them cleaned while the doctors made sure you did not have any wounds." Not prying into Naruto life, waiting for him to tell about it. Naruto saw the look as he got dressed and said, "Long story short, somebody decided to see how long I could handle being tortured before I would die. I finally got free and killed him and all of the men with him as my first kill." As he pulled the glove over his hand. Kakashi said, "Everyone has things they don't like to talk about. This is mine." As he raised his headband showing the Sharingan eye and said, "My teammate gave it to me the day he died." Naruto nods and said, well, let's get this over with. How long was I out for anyways? Kakashi said, 4 days. Your class already graduated. Naruto smirked and said, so did you find out anything from the guys I captured? Danzo had that set up before you all arrived and he knew who I was also. Somebody had to have told him and I know it's not you or Gigi. Kakashi said as they began going out the window and roof to roof. Ibiki questioned all of them and killed several, but they all say the same thing. Danzo told them to wait for the signal and to kill everyone except him that was there, including the academy students. That's all the intel I have. Naruto nods and said, so why tell me? You could have lied or you could have just told me Gigi told you not to tell. Kakashi smirked and said, let's just say that I think you did the right thing. You tried to stop them and you gave them all warnings which they ignored. You also only killed those who tried to attack first and captured the others. Even when you were pissed you still showed good judgment. Naruto said, you just got off on the idea of seeing Danzo get his. Kakashi laughed and said, am I that easy to read? Naruto said nothing as they landed on the edge of the Hokage window and stepped inside and saw the third doing paperwork, and he looked up and said, hello Naruto. How are you feeling? Naruto said, fine. In a dead voice. The third said, well, I want to say that I am both pleased and disappointed in your actions the other day, Naruto. I am pleased that you dealt with the threat to the village in a pretty favorable position, but I am all disappointed you did not tell me of Danzo involvement in your kidnapping. Naruto said, sir, I had honestly expected him to be long dead, since the last time I saw him was when Apocalypse punched him through the stomach with his fists. I had thought with him dead I had no reason to tell and bring up bad memories. Then when I saw him I looked at him and picked up on his thoughts, and the more I heard the more hate I had for him, and so when it came to me showing him respect I had rather slit my own throat than to give him any. The third frowned and said, very well, but next time if you see anyone who you know who worked with Apocalypse or any other threats to this village, you are to inform me before taking actions. As it stands now, you were acting as a civilian and did what you felt was for your own safety, and that is what I have passed on to the general population. As for the council, that's another story. They want to know the truth about your powers and your claims. I told them I would talk to you and have you decide what to do. If you refuse to tell them, they are going to request for you to leave the village because they do not want a mental case in the village if they can stop it. We already had one and we don't want another. Naruto frowned and said, if I tell them, what then? The third said, you will be placed on a team under probation until you are fully deemed not a threat to the safety of the village. I'm sorry, but you showed skills and powers that are beyond what we would expect of one as young as you, and the fact you can kill without remorse is something that bothers them and myself. Naruto said, fine, but only those who actually saw me fight. I don't want to deal with the other council members if I can. I hate politics. The third frowned and said, I'm afraid there are no other council members. When Danzo ordered the attack, he also had his men attack the council and killed everyone there, including both my advisors, so as it stand the clan heads who were there with us is all that is left of the council. Naruto said, very well. Tomorrow, 7 a.m., my place. I can explain everything then and there. The third nods and said, one more thing, Naruto. Until this matter is taken care of, you are to have your own guard follow you to make sure you do not cause any more trouble or flee. I have assigned Kakashi to you since you deemed him worthy to know of you. Naruto nods and said, well, I guess that's it. I will see you tomorrow, Gigi. As he placed his hand on Kakashi's shoulder and both disappeared using slip. Naruto and Kakashi appeared outside the house and Naruto said, listen, I have a pretty advanced security system, so if you don't want to be killed, do as I tell you when we go inside. As he opened the door and both Kakashi and Naruto walked in. When the door closed, 3 sentinels appeared and one said, mutant DNA confirmed, subject known as Echo confirmed. One unidentified person also confirmed. State your purpose here or be destroyed. As they all turned their weapons on Kakashi. Naruto said. Security acknowledge voice recognition echo. One said. Voice recognition confirmed subject echo. Naruto said. Identify subject as guess level A for unknown subject. And then looked at Kakashi and said. State your name, any nicknames you have as well as current rank or political station. Don't lie or they will kill you. Kakashi nods and said. Hatake Kakashi, codename Inu, also known as Sharingan Kakashi, current rank Junin Elite. One sentinel said. Identity confirmed. Welcome Kakashi, please be advised you are restricted to only level A areas. Good day. As all three sentinels moved back into hidden panels in the wall that covered over where they were hid. Naruto said. Okay, follow me and I will show you around. As he led Kakashi toward a stairs that went upstairs and Naruto said, upstairs is the general guest bedrooms. If we were in the original mansion back where I came from then all the students would be sleeping up there. This floor is mostly recreational level and administrative rooms. Since it's just me I don't use them unless I have company over. Now follow me so I can show you the X level. As Naruto turned and walked to a statue and created a rose out of ice and put it into a flower vase with several fake roses in it and a door opened up and Naruto stepped in and said, come on. As Kakashi slowly followed. The door closed and Kakashi asked, what is this? Naruto said, it's an elevator. It moves you up and down from different floors. We are going underground right now though. Kakashi frowns and thinks. The Hokage never said anything about an underground complex. I wonder if he knows. Kakashi asked. That rose deal you did back there. What was it for? Naruto said. It's part of the security for the elevator. It is a certain height and weight and shape and a scanner is built into the vase so it can tell if it was made by me. If it is off by one petal then knockout gas will fill the entire hall and lock down the entire house. The only way to escape then is if I gave the access code. Kakashi went wide-eyed and thought. Damn, that would stop anyone then since you would have to get it right on the very first try. Not even I can copy exact weights, size and shape on one try even with my Sharingan if I could use ice with no jutsu also. Naruto smiled to himself as the door opened up and Naruto started to walk and said, as you can see, all the rooms have a sign on each door and this place is fully automatic. No genjutsu, ninjutsu or bloodline can fool these sensors so they can tell you're here at any moment. Go ahead and try to go in any door. Kakashi nods and walked to a door and noticed no handles and he asked, where are the handles? Naruto said, step back a moment. Kakashi did and Naruto walked to the door and it opened and Naruto said, this is the medical bay, it is an X-level security room. I only gave you a level access so any door that opens for you is one you can go in. Any that don't you can't get into and don't try to pry them open or 20,000 volts of electricity will kill you. Kakashi paled and Naruto stepped back and said, now I gave you access to the lounge, sleeping area, kitchen, and, well that room I will have to restrict. Don't want you killing yourself in there. Kakashi sweat drops and said, is there anything in here that won't kill me? Naruto said, we have a lot of secrets that we want to protect. These security systems has saved mine and the others live several times so I don't kid around about them. Now the room I was saying I need to keep you out of is the danger room. Is basically a training area but the problem is if you do not set it up right or accidentally remove the safety features it will kill you. That is why I don't want you in there. Now go ahead and look around why I changed that security clearance. As he walked away. Kakashi looked around and saw signs written in several languages but he could only read one. He read Med Bay, War Room, Library, Hangar, Cerebro, Lounge, Kitchen, Danger Room, Lab A, Lab B, Holding Cells, Store Room, Armory, Sleeping Area. He frowned and thought, this is basically one big military complex. Nothing I was told before gave me any notice of this. The Hokage must not know because some of this he would have mentioned. I must inform him. As he saw Naruto coming back. Naruto said. So any questions? Kakashi asked. Why exactly does this place give off a military base feeling? Naruto sighed and leaned against a wall and said, Follow me. As he pushed off and walked toward the room that said, Danger Room. Kakashi followed him and looked around as he saw several machines and Naruto said, Have a seat and watch through the window while I load something to show you why it's this way. Kakashi nods looking out the window and saw a large white room. Naruto started pushing buttons and the white room changed to look like houses and roads, trees, and then people walking around. Kakashi looked at it and Naruto said, This is what some of the villages where I was looked like. Now most of those people down there are normal citizens but a few of them are mutants or as you call them bloodline users. Now watch what we had to deal with until recently. As suddenly 50-foot-tall metal human machine flew into the air in the room. One of the machines said, Mutant DNA detected. Begin eradication procedures. As they all landed and several small children curled up in fetal positions scared and a woman got in front of them and her skin turned white as she stuck her hands out and started shooting snow blast at the machines. The machine it hit was covered in ice while the other three raised their hands and red energy shot out of the hands hitting the woman and children and all that was left behind were smoking corpses. The machine said, Mutant eradicated, continue searching area. As they flew into the area and the one who was covered in ice started to glow as the ice melt and then it flew away. Naruto closed his eyes and cancelled the program and said, Those were standard sentinels. I have personally destroyed nearly 2,000 of them in my life. People fear what they don't understand or what is different so they created them. The ones upstairs are actually a more advanced ones that came out about 4 years back after. Anyways the governments of the world where we were at used them to either enslave, imprison, or destroy anyone with any mutant DNA. People like my friends, the Morlocks who most don't even have any powers or special abilities are still classified as mutants because they just look different. They have to live in the sewers away from the normal people so they are not beat or killed. It's just not the Sentinels either. There are humans like the purist groups who believe anyone who is a mutant should be killed at birth and then there are even those who are mutants like Apocalypse who don't actually care about the other mutants. They care about their own agendas. Kakashi looked down and said, Sound like the land of Wave. They hate bloodline users there and they have a civil war that has lasted nearly 100 years. So you and the others who you call friends did what exactly? Naruto said, We worked on creating a world where both humans and mutants can live in peace and harmony. Up until 2 years ago it was a dream but by dumb luck and chance a mutant saved the daughter of one of the leaders of the strongest government of the world. By doing so the views on mutants as a whole was changed. There are still those who don't trust mutants or like them but their numbers dwindle more and more each day. Now to answer your question about what we do, if we got word of something like the Sentinels, or chemical weapons that kill mutants, hurt relations with humans and mutants or those like Apocalypse we would go and fight them while protecting the innocents. Kakashi said. Sounds like you played superheroes. Naruto snickered and said. Nah, that's Spider-Man's racket. I don't like the tights. Kakashi looked confused so Naruto typed something and the room changed to a skyscraper and Kakashi saw some guy in orange sticking on the side of the building and the guy said, My spidey sense is tingling. As he stuck out his hand and web shot out and he leapt away. Kakashi tried to hold it in but burst out laughing and Naruto said, Exactly, he's one of the more publicly known mutants. The X-Men mostly stayed in the background, we weren't in it for the publicity or the fame. We did it because it was what was right. Kakashi smiled behind his back and said, The X-Men, was that the name of the group you belong to? Naruto said, Yeah, they were the ones who saved me from Apocalypse and also the ones who trained me along with the Brotherhood. I am actually one of the few who both groups recognize as a member of their group. Kakashi asked, Who are the Brotherhood? Naruto said, They were like the X-Men in their general ideas but they were willing to go about it differently than the X-Men were. The X-Men tried not to kill humans and let the laws handle them, while the Brotherhood would sometimes take justice in their own hands. Kakashi nods and asked, "So who is this Apocalypse guy you keep talking about?" Naruto frowned and typed something on the computer, and a tall man with blue armor and a palish-looking skin appeared, and Naruto said, "Apocalypse, he is one of, if not the oldest and most powerful mutants ever. He is well over 5,000 years old. He is basically immortal. He believes that only the strong should survive and that he should decide who is strong and who is not. He was the one who created the Kyuubi no Kitsune and sent it here." Kakashi went wide-eyed and said, "Are you sure?" Naruto nods and said, "Yes, when the X-Men came and rescued me along with a few others that Apocalypse had kidnapped, they were able to get a lot of info from his archives, and he bragged to himself in his archives about how he sent the Kyuubi here so that way he would be sealed into a child who would get the healing power of the Kyuubi and become a perfect test subject. Me. The Hokage has seen some of the info and videos of it, but not all. Anyways, Apocalypse then had Danzo capture me when I was 3, and over the next years took mutant DNA and fused it in my body, and some of them got rejected, but several of them actually succeeded in being absorbed by me. The process wound up killing the Kyuubi that was in me. That is why I have all these powers now. Now it could have had its drawbacks, like with my skeletal system that was bonded with metal. It could have made it where I would never have grown any taller than I was at that age, but the metal actually mutated itself along with my body, and my bones, instead of being grafted with the metal, actually became the metal and grew with me. The blades that shoot out of my wrist were designed that way, while the bonding was done in the shape of a sword blade. Anyways, the day I was saved from Apocalypse was the day that Demon Child, as this village called it, died. I am all that is left. It's because of the DNA I was forced to take. Now is that enough info for you and the council, Gigi, or do you need more?" As he looked up at the sky, Kakashi asked, "What are you talking about, Naruto?" Naruto said, "As the Hokage already knows, one of my powers allows me limited mental abilities where I can read surface thoughts. I usually have to be within so many feet of a person to do it, since my powers are weaker than the originals and it uses my chakra to use them, but when he zoomed in with whatever it is he is using, I could pick up his and the others' thoughts briefly. Now I am hungry and could use a beer, so let's go get something to eat." Kakashi. As he stood up and placed his hand on Kakashi's shoulder, and both left using slip to appear outside of the house. Naruto asked, "Know any good places to eat with good food and alcohol, and don't you dare start preaching to me about being too young. I have drunk since I was 11. Kakashi said, "Yeah, I know a place." As he started to lead them away. In the Hokage office, the third frowned and asked, "So are you all satisfied now?" Each of the clan heads looked at each other, and Hiashi said, "I still have reservations about trusting him. He seems to care more about these X-Men than he does the village, and I still have trouble believing some of it." The third said, "I would hope he does care more about them. After all, they treated him better than we ever did, and they actually took the time to help him when he needed it." Inoichi asked, "What is the extent of his mental powers, sir?" The third said, "It seems to be about 20 feet, and he can only hear the surface thoughts in your head, so say you were talking to your consciences, then he would hear those thoughts but not anything else. That was why when Mizuki mentioned Orochimaru, he asked me who he was in my mind and then helped to prove Mizuki was a spy." Inoichi nods and said, "That would be good for interrogation if careful, but if word got out how it worked, then it could be used against him." The third nods and said, "I know, I have already figured out how to block him also." Chuzu asked, "How?" The third said, "You all know the simple medical technique to get rid of hangovers where you channel chakra to your temples. I do that whenever I have something I don't want him to hear, and it blocks him out. I already tested it fully with several of my Anbu by having them do it while thinking they were going to attack him, while he never noticed." Hiashi nods and said, "Well, that's good. What about his other powers?" The third said, "Well, the gloved hand allows him to manipulate fire, while the ungloved hand allows him to use ice." The blade that he can shoot out of his hands is of a metal that can cut diamonds and was grafted onto his entire bone structure, making it impossible to break. He also has the ability of magnetism, where he can move metal or stop metal and fly by moving the metal in his body. How much control he has I do not know. He still has the healing ability he had as an infant and has decent chakra control, but he also cannot make hand signs to perform jutsu, so any he learns will have to be seal-less. Shibi asked. Why is that, sir? The third frowned and said, I don't know how it happened, but the hand that is gloved is that way, not for some kind of attack or anything like that. It's to keep the secret that all the flesh, muscles, chakra canals and veins on his hand have been completely destroyed, leaving behind the metal skeleton hand from the wrist to his fingers. I figure the only reason he can even use the hand is because of the advanced technology and seals in that glove, making everyone gasp hearing about the hand. Soom said, well, I don't have any trouble with him being a ninja of the village, but I don't want him on my son's team. He can still be friends with him, but as it is now he is too powerful and Kiba would take offense to it and become aggressive and stupid to show him up. It is nothing against this Echo kid. The third said, I am well aware of that. Do any of you have a problem with him being friends with you children? Hiyashi said, I do, only because he has already attacked my nephew. His views of respect giving would be frowned by my clan, and I am afraid if Hinata were to become friends with him, my council would brand her with the seal. Were it not for that, I would not have any issues. The third said, so if, say, they had to team up together for a mission, you would not object? Hiyashi said, no sir, it just would have to be kept official only though. The third nods and said, I agree and had already expected that. Does anyone object to their children becoming friends with him should they choose to besides Hiyashi? None of them objected, and the third said, well then it seems that now I just have to figure out where to put him. After several minutes of discussion and thought, the teams were designed, and the third sighed and said, I think this smaller council is better than the big one, as we were actually able to get something done. I will put the teams in effect when the teams are announced tomorrow. Thank you all for your help with this as well as your understanding. Each of them nod and leave, and the third shook his head Aegean and thought, I hope Naruto does not kill me for doing this with the teams. I had to consider others as well as him. As he pulls out his Ika Ika Paradise book and reads it. Naruto was walking down the street with Kakashi when he looks at the Hokage tower and frowns with narrowed eyes and thought, I hate being here. Everyone already is treating me different, and it won't be long before the hate starts. I want to go home, but I promised to stay here for at least a year or until Apocalypse was taken care of. Kakashi saw Naruto stop and look at the Hokage tower and asked, is everything alright? Naruto said, yeah, just thinking for a moment. So where is this bar and grill you were telling me about? Kakashi said, actually right over there. Come on, let's eat. As he walked in, Naruto said, can you pay for mine? I haven't been paid for Mizuki yet, and my regular money is not used here. I will pay you back once I get paid. Kakashi said, sure, no problem. As they walked in and Kakashi heard a voice said, hey Kakashi, what are you doing here? Kakashi turned and saw Asuma sitting at a table with Kurenai and said, the Hokage has me guarding Echo here in case any of the remainder of Root try and kill him for taking out Danzo, since he only got out of the hospital today and might not be up to full strength yet. Asuma nods and said, so how's it hanging, kid? Kurenai took a sip of her wine and Naruto said, swinging low, standing tall and leaning to the right, causing Kurenai to spit her wine out and blush on her face as both Asuma and Kakashi snickered at that. Kurenai turned her eyes at Naruto and said, pervert. Naruto said, how would you know what I was referring to unless your mind was also a pervert, Kurenai? I could have been talking about my arm or anything else, you pervert. Kurenai turned red and said, whatever. And Kakashi went wide-eyed and said, I don't believe it, someone actually got Kurenai back for all those pervert comments. Asuma said, so what you guys doing here? Naruto said. I need something to eat and drink. Where's the bar? Kakashi said. Over there. Pointing toward the left. Naruto nods and walks over and Kurenai said, isn't he a little young to drink? Just then they heard a shout say, what the hell do you mean the hardest shit you got is sake? That shit tastes like piss water. I want something with a kick to it. The man behind the counter said, sorry kid, but we don't have anything other than sake here. Naruto turned and said, hey Kakashi, be right back. As he disappeared using slip. Kakashi was about to go after him when Naruto returned with a milk crate with several bottles in it and Naruto said, just bring me my order to the table over here. I got my own booze. As he walked over and said, so where do you want to sit? Kakashi looked at the crate in Naruto's hand and said, what's that? Naruto smiled and said, my mom's secret recipe. It goes by many names like moonshine and white lightning. I just call it home brew. So where do you want to sit? Kakashi looked at Asuma who nods and Asuma said, you can sit here. Naruto nods and sets the crate down and grabs a bottle putting it to his teeth and pulls out a wooden cork and sets it on the table before gulping down a fifth of the bottle before setting it down and going, ah. As he smiled. Asuma asked, so what's it made of? Naruto said, a little of this, a little of that. My mom taught it to me when I was 8 and I've brewed my own since then. Want some? Guaranteed to make you go blind, grow hair on you ass, and forget the last 20 years of your life. Asuma chuckled and said, sure kid, why not? Let's see if this stuff is as good as you brag. As Naruto hands him a bottle from the crate he had. Asuma pours him and Kurenai both some and then hands the bottle to Kakashi who poured a little and Naruto grabbed his bottle and said, cheers. As they all to a drink. Kakashi and Asuma coughed while Kurenai eyes started to gloss over. Naruto frowned and said, damn lightweights. Inoichi walked in with Chuza and Shikaku and saw Naruto and the others and Naruto waved and said, yo, want to join us? These three are already pretty much wasted after one sip. Kakashi said. I am not. As he took a swig down from the bottle and fell backwards passed out and Naruto grabbed the bottle before he fell and said, pussy, you got drunk under the table after 2 shots. Kurenai started to wave her hand in front of her face and asked, is it me or is it hot in here? Naruto said, it's you. Asuma said, damn. How strong is that stuff? Naruto said. 90 proof. Making the 3 clan heads look at the Junins who seemed to be drunk. Asuma said. I believe it. Want to get out of here to cool down. As he looked at Kurenai. Kurenai said. Sure. As she had already loosened her battle dress a little to try and cool down. As they both left Naruto saw his food arrive and said. Good, I was getting hungry. So want to join me? As he motioned to the now empty seats. Inoichi said. No, that's all right, we got some drinking to do. Naruto said. Ah, a man after my own heart. Want some of my booze? Inoichi said. No, we like our own safe drinks. Don't want to become like Kakashi down there. As he saw Kakashi with a shit-eating grin on his face that was so big that could be seen behind his mask. Naruto nods and said, to each his own, as he took a swig and began to eat. He was about halfway through when he heard a voice say, and the flames of youth shall show all the way to enlightenment. As Naruto looked toward the door and saw Guy walk in with his team and Naruto smiled a moment and took another swig. Guy was looking around the table to find an empty seat when he saw Kakashi on the floor and he ran over to check on him and asked, what has happened to my most youthful rival? Naruto said. He got drunk and left me with no company, want to join me? Guy looked and said. Ah Echo-san, how are you this day? Neji shot Naruto a glare and Naruto said. Pretty good I guess, just got out of the hospital earlier today. Guy said. Yes, I heard about that, you passed out from chakra exhaustion after fighting those root. Neji said. I heard you killed 60 of them. Naruto said. No, I think it was around 15 including Danzo, the rest I captured. Lee said. You flames of youth burn brightly, Echo San. I must stroke my flames of youth to become as bright as yours, or I will run around Konoha 10 times on my hands, and if I cannot do that, then I will headbutt a log 1,000 times, and if I cannot do that, then. He stopped when Naruto shoved a full bottle in Lee's hand and said, Shut up and drink. Tenten snickered at the dumbstruck look on Lee's face, and Naruto said, So care to join me? Guy said, Sure, it would be most unyouthful to leave someone alone when they want company. I shall give you company and show up my eternal rival. Come team and sit. As he sat down and nodded to the owner and said, The usual. The owner nods and goes into the kitchen. Naruto said, So what have you four been up to? Lee uncorked the bottle and looked at it and asked, What is this? Naruto said with an accent, A little something my mama taught me, makes you feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Give it a try. Guy said. So what was Kakashi doing here with you? Naruto said.
So how was the video? If you like it, then why don't you subscribe the channel and turn on the bell icon for upcoming videos and upcoming series on the channel. And if you have any kind of suggestion, or if you have an if you want to express your emotions or experience on this video, why don't you go to the comment section and tell us about it? So if you like it, then subscribe, share, and watch it once more with your friends. See you later.